Okay, Southpark is taking no prisoners in its new season, and despite backlash from Trump administration officials, they are unfazed.
Like Trump or dislike Trump, one of the things that I love about Southpark is that they take no prisoners. They whack the woke, they're now having a crack, and anyone who, of course, has seen the Book of Mormon would know that's their kind of...
Kristi Noem was merely the target of a vicious bonus clip from Southpark. Let's also remark that her tough, political cowgirl persona didn't hold up during the roast. Rather of avoiding the controversy, the show brought her violent background back into the public eye and used it as fodder for memes. Noem was just reminded by Southpark that you can't defeat cartoon kids who use firearms for their jokes.
Actually released this bonus clip on Twitter last night, poking fun at DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's past puppy killing scandal.
This time, Southpark did more than merely criticize. They attacked right at the heart. The supposed additional video that was sent to Twitter wasn't just a pointless background joke. Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, and her notorious controversy was specifically targeted. Nor did they ease into it.
She and ICE used the show as a recruitment push on social media, but it was fun until it wasn't.
It was entertaining until it wasn't, but she and ICE exploited the program to promote their recruitment on social media. The video, which was merciless and unrepentant, struck the timeline like a grenade, demonstrating once more how unaffected Southpark is by political criticism. And let's face it, this wasn't simply another joke in a long line of parodies from a decade. This involved Southpark deliberately positioning themselves as a hindrance to the Trump administration.
It's so lazy to just constantly make fun of women for how they look. Only the liberals and the extremists do that. If they wanted to criticize my job, go ahead and do that, but clearly they can't. They just pick something petty like that.
Kristi Noem's response demonstrated how deeply the prank went. Rather than dismissing it, she criticized the cartoon for being sloppy, saying that criticizing a woman's beauty was trivial. On paper, that could seem like a powerful retort, but in practice, it merely made the jeering more intense.
I actually was a little surprised that was her reaction because she's tough. I mean, she's taken criticism forever, and I don't actually look at it as a woman issue. I just look at it as they're just making fun of everybody. I mean.
But Noem, out of all the things they sort of accused her of in the way that they're running ICE, she actually picked up on how they depicted her physically, sort of showing her face melting and all this stuff, and that's where she was like.
She and her crew once leveraged the edgy humor of Southpark memes to promote ICE recruitment campaigns online. However, the laughter ceased at some point. Everything changed when Southpark turned her into the target of the humiliation rather than the crowd she was pursuing. Since she didn't get the joke, she stopped laughing. The joke was her.
Is something that has been fun and making fun of people for, I don't know how many years, 20 years.
Then there's the actual scandal. Like a buried bone, Southpark unearthed that one. Kristi Noem acknowledged shooting her own dog in the 1990s. Her career was plagued by a narrative that never quite vanished. That dispute was taken by Southpark, who turned it into one of the most heinous and vicious jokes ever. In front of recruits, they made her animated self stand and provide a disclaimer. There will be violent content here. Sometimes you have to shoot your dog in the face in order to do what's important. That is a wound, not only a cut.
A slightly different approach. Instead of being the butt of the joke, sharing his Southpark moment, saying, "I finally made it. Bring back the group chat."
Vice President J.D. Vance chose a totally different path when Kristi Noem was upset about Southpark turning her animated face into goo. He leaned all the way in rather than complaining. On social media, Vance said with pride, "I finally made it." Similar to a child whose name was just omitted from the Yibik superlatives. The problem with this administration is that there are two kinds of players. Those who intensify their fury by shouting about unfair attacks and sexism. Then there are those who view ridicule as a form of free promotion.
Obviously, one Trump applauded and has now said that was so great, get rid of all these other late night hosts on other networks. They eliminated the DEI programs.
And let's face it, Southpark is very skilled at using this dynamic. They don't care if you upload memes of yourself celebrating your roast or if you complain about misogyny. You will still be pulled through the mud by them. That is Trey Parker and Matt Stone's secret sauce. Nobody is secure.
I think they won't have a problem supporting them in this case.
Right. And as he said, number one show on streaming. I mean, it'd be pretty hard to find an excuse to get rid of that one, even if you were looking for it. But that merger did just close today, right? And it's gotten Right. But it's gotten so much attention because of all this, right? It took a whole lot to actually get to where we are right now.
This is where it becomes even more juicy. Despite Trump World's attempts to minimize Southpark, the data presents a different picture. Southpark is not becoming less significant. In fact, it is currently the most streamed show in America. Take a moment to process that. Southpark appeals to more than just nostalgia. Their interest stems from the fact that the show has emerged as one of the few mainstream outlets prepared to openly and brutally criticize the Trump administration.
What we saw in this Paramount Skydance transaction was the company capitulated in a very cowardly manner to the demands of this administration.
The worst part is still to come. The fury from the White House simply makes the situation worse. Viewership rises in proportion to J.D. Vance's witty one-liners and Kristi Noem's complaints. Outrage has essentially taken over as Southpark's free advertising agency. Administration representatives are attempting to downplay it, claiming that no one watches it anymore, despite the facts clearly showing otherwise. It's controlling, not just being observed.
You know, Paramount recently canceled big-name Trump critic Stephen Colbert's show. So what about Southpark? Well, today I asked the company's new CEO, David Ellison, if Southpark's scathing Trump criticism is a problem for the company. Ellison indicated, no, it's not. He praised the show's creators. He told me he's been a fan of the show for decades.
On this administration, it feels like once these guys kind of landed their contract and they felt safe enough to not be sued, they're saying whatever they want.
The story takes an even odd turn at this point, though. There is a significant level of corporate intrigue hidden beneath the jokes and memes. Southpark's parent company, Paramount, just completed a significant merger with Skydance. Additionally, a $16 million settlement with Trump's FCC was concealed in the background of that agreement. Many people believe that the settlement was a payment to make it easier for the merger to be approved.
The Late Show was losing money for years, while Southpark is, in Ellison's words, highly profitable and a huge hit on streaming.
Consider that. Paramount might have literally given Trump a huge check to appease regulators while Southpark was busy making fun of Trump officials. Nevertheless, Southpark not only survived but flourished among all the programs that were owned by Paramount.
Breaking news, the new head of Paramount telling CNN he is standing by Southpark after another utterly scathing episode about the Trump administration.
The new Paramount CEO, David Ellison, appears to know this better than anybody else. Ellison came out strongly in support of Southpark, in contrast to the cautious corporate voices we typically hear.
Equal opportunity offenders and always have been.
He called Parker and Stone equal.
He declared that Parker and Stone were equal opportunity violators, and that he had no intention of controlling them. Given the current political situation and Paramount's recent merger agreement, that is a daring move. Ellison isn't merely defending the show for moral reasons, though. He is wagering on chaos. He is aware that Southpark makes money. He is aware that controversy sells, and that it is a streaming powerhouse.
He supported it there. He certainly did. And as he said, he's a fan of it. It's funny. So, and it's a big hit. And they just, the previous owner.
Observe the contrast he produced. Colbert, despite his incisive monologues, was dismissed because he was unable to generate revenue. In contrast, Southpark is defended, lauded, and promoted due to its status as a money-printing chaos factory. Insiders have used the term chaotic machine precisely. They are also not incorrect. The clips go viral, subscriptions soar, and Paramount chuckles uncontrollably every time Southpark provokes controversy.
And I think what you're seeing with this administration, sort of top to bottom, is the thing that they are having the hardest time facing criticism-wise is being laughed at.
Therefore, this entire story ultimately demonstrates that controversial information is not simply accepted in today's corporate media. It's turned into a weapon. Southpark isn't only getting by. It is flourishing. Because the very turmoil that keeps the money coming is the same chaos that infuriates politicians. In a world where businesses are fighting to preserve their profits and governments are fighting to control their image, Southpark has managed to establish itself as both the largest annoyance to the Trump administration and one of the most reliable entertainment options. And that's as Southpark as it gets, the fact that a cartoon has succeeded in doing that.
They want to be called evil. The thing that actually gets under their skin is being laughed at.
The problem with aspiring authoritarians is this. Rather than giggles, they want goosebumps. Instead than spitting out your coffee because they were just roasted by a fourth-grade cartoon character, they want you to tremble in terror of their strength. Because of this, Satire, ridiculous jokes, extravagant parodies, and exaggerated cartoon meltdowns are more powerful than political op-eds. No amount of oil regulation, media control, book bans, or even rally stage management will stop people from making fun of you. And that's precisely what makes the Trump world go crazy.
That's why Trump is going after Colbert. That's why ICE and Kristi Noem and Southpark seems like such a sort of high-stakes feud, precisely because
politicians aren't the only targets of Southpark singers. It removes the armor. They are making officials confront their greatest fears when they make fun of Kristi Noem's melted face controversy or make J.D. Vance into a wide-eyed meme. Being absurd. Trump has attacked Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, and even Saturday Night Live because he believes that laughter challenges authority. It confetti shreds it. The goal of authoritarians is to appear invincible. America is reminded by Southpark that they are clowns wearing fancy suits.
Talking about the absurdities of what we've been seeing, and that's what I was thinking about. You know, earlier we were talking about, like, what does this all mean? And I think that it draws attention to something that's a little absurd. Like I've said on this program, and I will say it again, there's real peoples out there.
But what I hear in Southpark and what I see in podcasting manosphere land is like they're not talking about ICE in a positive way.
In relation to clowns, let's discuss ICE. Homeland Security even attempted to recruit by showing Southpark video at one point. Southpark is essentially the background sabotage machine, as Homeland Security competes directly with local police and sheriff's departments for youthful recruits. Authority is not feared by Generation Z. They make fun of it, and Southpark gives them the ideal ammunition. The most dangerous opposition in America in 2025 doesn't campaign on stages, sit in Congress, or wear suits. It's for Colorado cartoon kids. Furthermore, Southpark is essentially a nuclear arsenal if laughter is the kryptonite of totalitarianism. For more updates on this crazy story, hit subscribe and stay tuned.